Hiya! Welcome! So a bit of a special unboxing cum mail opening of numerous packages to do today. You've seen from the title of the video and the thumbnail what this is all about. I've basically decided to get a bunch of New Order singles on 7-inch vinyl. Here's all the packages. There's a nice big one from an eBay seller, a single from another eBay seller, and then two more from other websites. So why am I suddenly buying New Order 7-inch singles? Well, I'm a New Order collector, you all know that much. Now, I was specifically looking for 7-inch singles here, mainly because a lot of their 12-inch singles have been re-released on 180 gram newer vinyl over the past few years, you know, to coincide with the definitive edition box sets and the Substance 87 reissue, things like that, and presumably more of the 12-inch singles from the Brotherhood and Technique eras at least will be reissued eventually when those definitive editions come out. But also, I've been watching a lot of Martin Harris's old vinyl updates recently. Shout out to Martin, brilliant channel. I'm a big fan of what he does, and I was going back quite a bit in his archives, and a lot of the singles and 7-inch vinyl and 12-inch as well, to be fair, he was showing in these vinyl updates was additions to his Prince collection, and it put me in the mood to do something similar for my New Order collection, because all these sort of classic, the 80s, but there is some 90s in here, we'll get to them, all that sort of era of New Order, the original singles, I don't have. I do have some New Order on 7-inch, and as I say, I've got a fair amount on 12-inch, particularly more recent stuff. And it's not just reissues I've got, there was like a 12x12 remix 12-inch campaign from kind of, I want to say about 15 years ago. I've got all of those. I've got an American Confusion reissue remix from around 1990. I've got the World in Motion original remixes 12-inch single as well. So I've got a lot of stuff, but you know, I kind of wanted the original singles, particularly the 7-inch versions. A few 12 inches from eBay and one or two of these sites did catch my eye, but I decided, at least for this particular video, for this particular stage in my New Order collecting, I'd just buy some 7-inch singles today. But there will be more, probably, almost certainly. These are the ones that I felt were reasonably priced, although there is one or two that are a little bit on the high price side, but we'll get onto them. There's actually another one from eBay, another 7-inch New Order single that hasn't turned up yet. I don't even think it's been sent out yet, but I'm not too worried. It was very cheap, that one, and I'll just show that in a records roundup in due course. Right, so I think I'm going to get this box open first. This is like the big bulk package, although none of these in here were particularly expensive. I think this bundle of 6, I want to say 6, including about a £5 in postage, came to just over £30, which I don't think was too bad. So if you take away postage, it's just a few quid per single. One of these I was dithering over because the condition of the sleeve wasn't great, and it isn't technically just a New Order single, but I decided I'd get it because it has New Order on it, so it goes in the collection, and it was cheap. Many thanks to the eBay seller here, who has packaged these up really nicely with some extra cardboard for protection. Oh, some Felix cat food cardboard there. So I'll just take these in the order in which I'm holding them right now. So these won't be in any order of when they were released or when I chose them and added them to my basket or anything, I don't think. God, there's even more cardboard to chuck away there. Right, so the first one is Shell Shock, single from 1986. The B-side, I believe, is Shell Cock, which is like a remix, mostly instrumental if memory serves. I do have these tracks multiple times, especially as I've got the Substance compilation album 5 times now. Nice that it's put them in these protective sleeves. They don't feel brilliant quality, but they'll certainly do for me, and I've got plenty of my own Well, not plenty, but I've got some of my own that I can use if need be anyway. So Shell Shock, is put it in a little inner sleeve as well. Not really much to look at there, but as New Order sleeves go, this one is about one of the most boring ones, to be fair. The 12-inch, which I've got the reissue of, I think the cover for that's a lot more interesting. In fact, I'm not going to worry too much about putting these back in their sleeves. I'm just going to get through them relatively quickly. Individual prices, I'm not sure. I think the most expensive one out of this bundle of 6 was $7.99. So like I say, the total price minus postage ended up being about 25 or 26. So that's Shell Shock. Next one is State of the Nation. There again, he's put it in a protective outer and also a white inner as well. Very similar sleeve to Bizarre Love Triangle, which you won't see, at least in this video, because for some reason the 7-inch single of that it's not extortionate money, but it's quite high for a 2-track 7-inch. So State of the Nation, B-side is Shame of the Nation, which is basically a John Roby remix from the Brotherhood album, so also from 1986 there. Next up we have what I think was the $7.99 one in this bundle, and it's England New Order World in Motion. I have this single. I've got the original 1990 CD single that came in the card slip case, and I've got the 2002 reissue CD single as well, and I've also got the remixes on 12-inch vinyl. So this is the first time I've had this single on 7-inch, but this is like my 4th version of World in Motion now. I say 4th, I'm thinking I'm forgetting one there. But yeah, of course, New Order's Soul #1, World in Motion on the A-side, the Stephen Hague mix, and the Roly Mossyman, I think his name is, version, like kind of like the original demo sort of version, is the B-side. So yeah, these are really just collector's pieces more than anything. You know, I don't necessarily need any of these tracks again, but New Order is my prized collection. They're the group that I like to get as much as possible, and you know, especially since I got back into vinyl around 2018, 2019, you know, to get all of the New Order singles on as many formats as I can has been quite a long ambition of mine, so I think I've made a pretty good start here with all these today. Next one, I'm still finding cardboard to chuck out. He's really sort of put extra cardboard in to protect it. Next is Touched by the Hand of God from 1987. Of course, World in Motion was 1990, by the way. I've got the CD single for this. I don't have the 12-inch version. This was the one, I thought they would have brought this out on 12-inch vinyl, reissue it I should say, when the Substance reissues came out last year, and it didn't happen. They skipped this and went on to Blue Monday 88. I'm sure there was some reasoning behind it. Little look at the back there. Side A is Touched by the Hand of God, and I think on this, and I've not got my glasses on so I can't really see, but I think the B-side for this is Touched by the Hand of Dub. All these look to be in good condition as well. Obviously, as you can see, I'm not particularly inspecting the vinyl, but the seller on eBay had complete 100% feedback, and a lot of feedback going back quite a few years as well. So it's obviously some sort of record collector slash trader, and he had a lot of stuff in his eBay store. So, you know, I'm very happy with what I've seen so far, but obviously as I'm sort of getting these out to clean and play them, I will do closer inspections, but so far I don't think I'm going to have any problems with any of these. This one is Round and Round, the second single from Technique. This is another one that I've got a couple of times already. I've got the standard CD single, and I've got the little 3-inch CD single of remixes as well. Not got it on 12-inch, but now I do have it on 7-inch. So side A, Round and Round, and side B is Best and Marsh, which for those who aren't familiar is, or was, the theme to a Granada TV series where basically Tony Wilson interviewed footballers George Best and Rodney Marsh. So that's Round and Round. Now then, this is the one that I was umming and ahhing over, because it's technically a various artists EP, and it was a freebie originally from Record Mirror, which was an old music newspaper that stopped existing, I want to say sometime in the 90s, or it might have even been late 80s. This single would have been from 1986, I think, and as you can see from the sleeve, it's not in particularly good condition, but it features an exclusive remix of Subculture by New Order, and also it features Jennifer Wants by Raymond, or Raymond, an exclusive track apparently. Bad Thing Longing by Hipsway. I believe Hipsway, someone who was in that band, was in Altered Images, and then he went on after Hipsway to form Texas alongside Charlene Spiteri. I've forgotten his name, it's Johnny I can't say his name. Johnny somebody, I'll put it on screen possibly. And the fourth track on this EP is Walk Away Red by Adventures, and that's specially recorded for Record Mirror apparently. So yeah, it's not quite as bad as it looked on the photo, to be fair. He had two copies of this. This one I think was $2.99 and the other one was $1.99, but the sleeve was just really torn. Whereas this one, it was kind of just sort of a little bit missing there and there. But it's not too bad, to be fair, the condition. I'm quite happy with that. It's got a bit of bump about the EP on the back. I think Record Mirror used to offer quite a lot of these exclusive EPs. As for the actual version of Subculture, whether it's still exclusive, I'm not sure. It could have been reissued elsewhere since. It might still be exclusive to this. I'll only know when I listen to it, to be honest. It also plays at 33 1/3, this one. Quite unusually for a 7-inch vinyl record. But given that there's 4 tracks on, it's to be expected, I suppose. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I bought that in the end, especially as the condition of the sleeve, while it's not great, it's not too bad. And it's just a nice little, somewhat more unusual item for the New Order collection, as it features other acts who've got absolutely nothing to do with New Order. And I've never heard Raymond, don't think I've heard Hipsway, and I don't think I've heard The Adventures either. So yeah, really pleased with that. So that was my 6 from that eBay seller, but there was one more, technically 2 more from other eBay sellers. As I say, one of them I'm waiting for, don't know when it's going to be sent out, but you'll see it in Records Roundup, no doubt. And this one did come pretty promptly. I think there's just one in here. In fact, yes, I know there's just one in here. And this was cheapish anyway, about £6 with free postage, a best offer, I believe this was. And again, this seller looks to have packaged this very well with extra cardboard inside this white mailer here. And we have Temptation. So this is an original 7-inch version of Temptation by New Order. I do have the 12-inch reissued version that came out to coincide with, that was with the Movement Deluxe Edition box set, I think. Or was it Power, Corruption and no, it was in the Movement one, I'm sure it was. So from 1982 originally, side A, Temptation, side B, Hurt. Lovely stuff. So that's all the eBay stuff, but still a couple of packages to open. This package here is from rarerecords.com, also known as EIL.com. It's 2 different sites, but it's technically the same company. It's just they have a different site that sells the same stuff as EIL for some reason. I'm not sure why. EIL, a lot of record collectors, I used to see them advertised all the time in Record Collector magazine back in the day. They've been established for many years now. If you go on the Rare Records, and I think it's .co.uk, or it could be .com, one or the other, try them. It's basically EIL, so you know you're dealing with a trusted party there. So I'll get this open. There's 2 in here. Oh, I can't remember what they are. No, I can remember what they are. I think these are getting to be a little more expensive now. The £10 and over mark for these. Yeah, about one of these I think was nearly 20. So we've got an invoice there. First one is Ceremony, the very first New Order single, and I think this should be the original recording of it as well, when New Order were briefly technically just a three-piece. Bernard Sumner, Peter Hook and Stephen Morris. This was recorded shortly before Gillian Gilbert joined the band, and then they did re-record Ceremony. But I think the re-recording of it was only out on 12-inch. I might be wrong there. Stevie's Vinyl Cupboard will be one to correct me, certainly, if I'm wrong. So I think this is the original three-piece version. I've also got this on two reissued 12-inches. The original version reissued as a 12-inch, and the re-recorded with Gillian 12-inch reissue as well. So that's Ceremony with In a Lonely Place on the B. Nice embossed sleeve this. Might be a bit difficult to see it. No, it's not glaring too much. There's always going to be a bit of glare, isn't there? Now then, the seller who I bought the bundle of 6 from had this, but he was charging I think about £24-25 for it, whereas this one from Rare Records / EIL was I think about 13 or 14, so like a tenner saving pretty much. This one, the sleeve's certainly in nice condition, and I think the vinyl looked fine as well. As I say, I will inspect the records before listening anyway. And then the second one from Rare Records was the one that I think was £19. So quite a lot. I'm pleased I've got it. I'm pleased I've got all these, really. It's just fun to get these New Order singles that I've never had on 7-inch vinyl before. It's Regret from 1993. Ceremony was 81, by the way. 2 tracks, of course, 7-inch version and the New Order mix. Let's get this open. These have come in adhesive protective sleeves, which I might swap out for my own because I don't particularly like adhesive protectors. But there we go. Yeah, see, nothing really much to look at for any of these. You know, you've seen one black 7-inch record. I was going to say you've seen one, you've seen them all, but, you know, it's nice to look at the different labels, but some of the centre labels are more interesting than others. But I've always loved that sleeve. It's like, it gives me Marlboro Man cigarette ad vibes with the 2 cowboys and one's lighting the other one cigarette there. I have the CD single for this. I don't have any 12-inch singles from the Republic era. I wouldn't mind getting some because they're ones that I think probably won't get reissued. I could be wrong and they might get reissued. They may well one day be a Republic definitive edition, but I just get the feeling that once they've done Brotherhood and Technique, they're not going to be any more definitive editions. But that's just my speculation. I might end up, and hopefully I will end up, being wrong on that. So you know, I'm concentrating on the 7-inch singles for now, and there's a lot here that I've got. There's not too many more that I'll need to get, really. It's like quite the expensive ones that are left, to be honest. So 2 nice ones from Rare Records there, and this last package, I think there's 3 in here from Atlas Records. I've used Atlas before. You might have to scroll back quite a way in my MISC VC and music collecting playlist to see other things I've picked up from Atlas. But first time I've used them in a couple of years or so at least. Let's get into this one. So there's one in here that is particularly expensive, but when I was comparing it with prices from sellers on eBay, there was some that was a bit cheaper, but there's different versions. And then on Discogs I was looking as well, and a lot of them didn't have the original sleeve. They were coming in a generic sleeve. So I just thought, blow it, because I trust Atlas. I know that their sleeve and vinyl ratings are always accurate as well. I thought I'll pay the extra and get it from Atlas. So speaking of which, they have put in what's like a little booklet. It's also got a flyer packed by Sam. Thank you, Sam. Little booklet that's a nice thing, this. I've never had one of these from Atlas before. This must be quite a new thing they're doing. But it's basically just like their story, really, and saying, you know, how long they've existed for. Can't really read it too well without my glasses. I mean, they're good for second-hand vinyl. I've always found them a little bit, for certain stuff, a little bit overpriced, and one of these I think is a little bit overpriced. but you'll find out more about that in a moment. But that's a nice thing, that I'm going to read that later on. It's unusual that you don't really get things like that from record websites. Right then, so this is the big one. This one is like the rather expensive and some might say overpriced pick of this bunch, and it is the 1981 single Procession, backed with Everything's Gone Green. Now this has come out just the same 2 tracks, but it came out with about 12 different colour sleeves. This one I've got is the red one. I don't know if this is more rare than any of the others. It seemed to be a little more rarer on Discogs and eBay. I didn't really care what colour I got. I just wanted a good condition copy. I think this ended up being, it's got a sticker with a barcode on the back, but I don't know if the price is on it. But it's classed as EX/VG Plus. I think that's the sleeve being EX and the vinyl being VG Plus. That's nice. It's got on this protective sleeve here, it's got the Atlas Records logo, so I need to be careful with this because this is kind of like the big ticket item really, and they've put it in a protective sleeve as well. Yeah, for its age, that is, I would say, very good plus to excellent condition really for that. It's got the B Music label. I'm not going to get this out of this anti-static inner here. But it is Procession, and then the other side is Everything's Gone Green. I don't want any more of the colour variants, the colour sleeve variants. I just wanted one edition of Procession on 7-inch vinyl, and I think some of them are quite commonplace, and if you don't mind slightly ropey condition, you could probably get for at least half the price I paid for this. It's too much for a single really, but you know, I'd want it eventually, so I just thought, yeah, blow it, I'll get it now. We move on to the penultimate one, and this is Fine Time from late '88. Of course, this was the lead single from the 1989 album Technique, an album which I love. It's my favourite album of all time and probably always will be. The condition of this is they're classing it the same as Procession there, being X/VG Plus. The price of this was about £6. In fact, they had a couple of copies, and I think one was £5, one was £6. The £5 one was graded slightly lower, that was VG rather than VG Plus. I just paid the extra £1, but I'm sure the other would have been fine. Fine Time, and then the B-side for this I think will be Don't Do It. I have the CD single of that. There's a couple of 12-inch versions as well that I'm going to hold off on, because if and when Technique gets its definitive edition reissue, I would assume that the 12-inch Fine Time singles will be reissued at the same time. But you know what they say about assumptions. Much as I kind of like the customised protective sleeves, they are these adhesive ones that I'm not a big fan of, so I may well swap these out for protective sleeves that I've got myself. And the last one, now this was quite expensive as well. I think this was £20. One that I didn't really see it on eBay, didn't look for it on Discogs, but I thought I'd get the copy from Atlas because I trust Atlas, and I just wanted to get as many of these as possible. It is True Faith 94. So I've got so many versions of True Faith really. I've got the reissue of the 87 single on 12-inch and the remix single on 12-inch. I've got the CD video single that came out in '88. And then I've got the 94 version on CD single, which I think's got 4 or 5 tracks on it. And now I've got the 7-inch of the 94 version. Really happy to have got this. The rest that I kind of need for the collection now. And I'm not including like promos and foreign editions either, because that's a rabbit hole that I could theoretically go down one day. But I want to get the kind of UK 7-inch issues first and foremost, and then anything that's a bit more rarer or unusual I'll kind of look at on a as and when basis. True Faith 94. It's the sleeve. So side A is the 94 version, which doesn't sound an awful lot different from the original 87 version, and the B-side is the Perfecto radio edit, which is a very good mix of it. Once again, I'm not going to bother taking it out of this anti-static inner here, but I'm really pleased to have got that. It's on the London record label, and this was the lead single from the Best of New Order compilation that came out late 1994, and is an album that, although yeah, it's not on a par with Substance as compilations go, I've got a big soft spot for the Best of New Order, because that was the first New Order album I ever owned. It was on cassette. I had it for Christmas '94, and I basically played it to death and became a New Order super fan from then on in. Struggling to get this back in. I don't like these adhesive sleeves. I mean, because they're always really thin quality, and that's before you start getting the flappy bit stuck to where you don't want it to be stuck to. I mean, I'm going to sort all these out properly when I start listening to them, obviously. Oh, did I say what the condition was of this? XX this, so they're grading both the sleeve and the vinyl at excellent condition, so that's always good to know and good to see. True Faith 94. So there we go, that was what, 12 New Order 7 inches. I have another on the way. I will be looking out for the ones that are missing. As I say, you can get variants, and you know, some might be from other countries. I'm kind of not going to play by any sort of too strict a rule, other than I'm first and foremost looking for UK releases, and all these are UK releases. Quick recap: Shell Shock, State of the Nation, World in Motion, Touched by the Hand of God, Round and Round, the Record Mirror New Order plus Other Artists EP, Temptation, Ceremony, Regret, Procession, Fine Time, and True Faith 94. There we are. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this look at some of these New Order 7-inch singles, and you will no doubt see more, maybe even some 12 inches, depending on my decision on which of those I want to collect in the near future on upcoming records roundups. And you never know, if I find another good bundle of New Order that I'm buying all at the same time, then I might even do another video similar to this, just dedicated to the singles from New Order. I want to say special thanks to all of my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons, and I'm going to go now, going to sort out all these singles, log them into my Discogs collection, and then make sure that they're all clean and that, you know, they're all in good nick and I don't need to make any complaints. I'm pretty certain that all of this is going to play just fine, so no worries there. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next New Order related video and record collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!